Welcome to Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race B for week 34 of 2023. We're at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and rare for Belgium, it's sunny. Race B was good to me earlier in the week with a podium and lots of top 5 finishes, propelling my driver's rating to a 75% of B, my highest to date. Then it turned on me. One race got quite bumpy that dropped me to an A rating for sportsmanship. That put me with drivers that seem to care less about hitting you, and I found my driving deteriorated when driving with such a crowd. 2 more races later and my sportsmanship had precipitously dropped to C, a terrible place to be. Since then, I have been trying to work myself out of the hole. It can be hard when there are bad drivers around you, as it can be much harder to avoid infractions that cost you your SR. This is an example of the challenge I face with such drivers. I start in Q2, but right at the start, PB17 drives up the inside into my racing line after I've already committed to La Source. They get the turn by sideswiping me out the way. A live steward would penalise that move, but they get off scot-free. It also slowed me, so Spicy Checo got alongside me to lose another spot. I back out to avoid contact as I'm going for sportsmanship over the finishing position, but slowing down then put me in the crosshairs of a pack of Supras along Kemmel. There is nothing I can do and let one pass with ease, but entering Les Combe, Sam B switches to the inside right as I brake, catching my rear and causing me to spin into the wall. Then, as I aim to get back on track, 4th to 8th just pile into each other and there is little attempt at avoiding other cars. Seems like their idea of braking is to hit the car in front. Like an idiot, as I try to figure out how to deal with the mess in front, I lose concentration and go off the speakers. That causes a loss of 2 more spots, and then Gadget Guy hits me, causing me to slide wide, and he passes along with Miami F1 due to my new loss of speed. One more for good measure, and Dro passes as well in a rare clean move. I catch up with Bro, but brake early to avoid accidental contact. Perhaps that will help one sector of SR. Bro, however, punts Lightning McBean. At Eau Rouge, the curb bounced me wrong and I get a penalty. Back at Les Combe, well done to Dro as he puts himself off to avoid mate. At the penalty spot, Lightning passes me and I end up finishing lap 1 in 13th from an initial Q2. A horrible first lap. Lap 2, into La Source, I try to hold the centre line and Ro tries to take me on the outside. More bad news for my SR in more contact. At Redillon, I back off to avoid carnage and slip back again. At Milady, I brake where I normally would, but I am caught out by a slow full throttle and we have contact. For a relatively slow impact, full throttle seems to zoom off track easily and I am clobbered by a 3-second penalty. I considered waiting for full throttle to pass me again, but decided not to as I knew they would regain with no trouble at the penalty box. It's chaos ahead, a double gauche, and I catch them up with their infighting. Full throttle passes me as I expected. No idea why Dro is ghosted, but I pass him. Finally get a clean run on lap 4 and pass mate who has a penalty. A good run up Camel on lap 5 has me passing Lightning, but it looks like Full Throttle tried to cut me off and re-collide. More SR loss. It's so hard with this crowd. Then entering Malmedy, both mate and Full Throttle just careen into me through the corner. I've had some great races at Spa with drivers with exemplary driving, and then there was this one. These drivers should be ashamed of their poor driving. I'm ashamed of my driving by the fact that my sportsmanship ability appears to slide backwards when there are bad drivers around me. It's a lose-lose scenario. I don't mind yielding a spot to help my SR regain if the drivers around me are respectful, but with their erratic driving, it is near impossible to avoid contact without driving around in last spot. In the end I finish 11th. Hope you found this video informative, and if you like or don't like what you see, let me know in the comments. See you on another race.